So this is the place. I'm just a tourist, man. I'm a holiday maker. So I came to this incredible beach on the Big Island called Ho'okana, and I'm snorkeling and I'm just chilling out and laying on the beach. And then I come back here. This is like the kind of this dense forested area that's on the back of the beach, and a mosquito comes up. And man, it's an old friend. I get bitten right here in this place by Aedes aegypti, the yellow fever mosquito. I mean, that's my master's degree. I studied that mosquito for 3 solid years back in the 80s. A few minutes later, I was bitten by Aedes albopictus, the Asian tiger mosquito. So now I've got my 2 favorite mosquitoes, also the 2 most important mosquitoes on the planet, arguably. As a matter of fact, they could be the most important animals on the planet. They're ridiculously invasive and they transmit serious diseases. I had to get my camera, so come and get me. I'm here and I'm hot. Oh, yeah. Oh my God, this is a gorgeous, gorgeous tiger mosquito. You guys can see that white silvery stripe right down the middle. Oh wow, look at those incredible white markings. This is a young, beautiful mosquito. Who knows, this could be her first blood meal, and she is filling up. Right next to the salt and pepper sand of the beach, look at that. She looks like the sand. This is her place. This is amazing. Look at her. Look at that. So, you know, I started as a holiday maker, but now I'm the mosquito man, and I'm gonna have to use all of my superpowers as a filmmaker, as a teacher, as a professor, as a scientist, to bring a film to life. I want you to know everything that there is to know about these extraordinary mosquitoes.
Mosquito Man has got a plan, he's got a lot to do. With a camera in his hand, here's what he'll show you. Tiny little creatures that like to suck your blood. We know that you hate them, but for him it's love. Mosquito Man, Mosquito Man, Mosquito Man, Mosquito Man. He travels all around the globe just to bring to you a universe beyond your eyes. I bet you'll feel it too. Who thought
So welcome to Denver, Colorado. This is my HQ. No matter how icy and snowy it is in the winter, I've got mosquitoes right up there at the science building. So let's go take a look. Behold, the great mosquito wall. This keeps man-biters there and makes all of my friends happy. This is a room that brings me great pleasure. This is a rearing room. This is a research room for Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus. And I've got to show you some of the features. So I've got incubators to raise mosquitoes, microscopes, tables, everything that I need. Let's look at this. These incubators are at the perfect temperature, the perfect humidity, and the perfect light cycle. That's important. These cages are full of mosquitoes. Look at that. There's a couple of hundred Aedes aegypti right here, ready to bite, ready to do work. Raising mosquitoes like this in the modern world is pretty easy. We owe the art of raising mosquitoes and studying the mosquitoes to its origins in Cuba. A medical doctor by the name of Carlos Finley was concerned with yellow fever and the role that mosquitoes play in transmitting it. In the process of studying yellow fever in mosquitoes, he became the father of culicidology. What's culicidology? It's a study of mosquitoes. He was the first guy to work out the life cycle in the 1870s. He didn't raise them with incubators and cages like I have. He raised them in little glass vials with cotton in the top. I mean, day by day by day, he would tend to solitary mosquitoes in glass vials. This is a photograph of 22-year-old Carlos Finley taken in Philadelphia in 1855. By this time, he had experienced a young life full of travel, adventure, and illness. As a boy in Cuba, he was exposed to nature on his father's coffee plantation. At age 11, he was sent to boarding school in Le Havre, France, but 2 years on, he got cholera. He survived the often fatal disease, but developed complications that would permanently alter his speech. Because of this, through his life, many would consider him mentally slow or absent-minded. Upon recovery, the young Finley returned home to Cuba. Finley returned to France for more schooling in 1848. This time, he studied in Rouen. Finley's poor luck with staying healthy as a student in France continued as 2 years on, he became ill, this time with typhoid. Clearly, Finley's boyhood challenges with disease would motivate him to pursue a career in medicine. In 1853, he enrolled in the Thomas Jefferson Medical College in Philadelphia. While there, he was inspired by Professor John Kersley Mitchell, an early proponent of germ theory and one interested in malarious and other fevers. Finley returned to Cuba and became an MD. With his curiosity for the natural world and a deep personal history with infectious disease, he was poised for scientific discovery. It is no wonder that Finley would turn his attention to yellow fever and mosquitoes, both of which plagued Havana. Like none other before him, Finley would intensively study mosquito biology. He reared mosquitoes and, by imprisoning them in vials, discovered many important aspects of their biology, especially that of the Culex mosquito, which we now know as Aedes aegypti. Until Finley, mosquitoes were thought to be ephemeral, dying after laying their eggs. But in his vials, with daily offerings of blood from his hands, Finley found them to take multiple blood meals, and after oviposition over the course of 2 to 3 days, continued survival and more blood feeding. He learned much about their eggs, too. Wrigglers would hatch into the water that he poured into the egg-containing vials. On the other hand, without water, eggs could be stored for much longer, only to hatch when later submerged. Finley tells of an 1881 mosquito that lived for 31 days, of which it fed on blood 12 and oviposited 7. Most of these culicidological findings were brilliantly presented in Finley's 1881 scientific paper entitled "The Mosquito Hypothetically Considered as an Agent in the Transmission of Yellow Fever Poison." Clearly, Finley was the first scientist to show that mosquitoes suck blood more than once in their lives, and that eggs that are laid above the water could remain viable in a dry state for long periods of time. This is my headquarters at the Metropolitan State University of Denver. Surprise. stars of the show. Okay. Okay. Come on. Little CO2 to get everything happening. Oh, good grief. There they are, the 2 stars. So that beautiful black mosquito on the left side of the screen with that big racing stripe right down the top of her thorax, that's Aedes albopictus. That's the Asian tiger mosquito. Spectacular. And then if we look over at Aedes aegypti, very similar markings. She's got a brown color. Most of the Aedes aegypti on the planet have this brown color. And of course, just look at the beauty of the feeding mechanism. You see that thing folding back under her head? That's called the labium. And it's a sheath for other mouth parts called the fascicle. Okay. Well, you can see what's going on actually. There's a couple of little things called palps right below her head, underneath her antennae, and they're white tipped. And when she goes in, they're kind of doing this. Every time they make a movement, they're pushing a sawtoothed piece called a maxilla deep in to my skin. And the teeth point backwards, so she can use it as an anchor to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Each flick of a maxillary palp is accompanied by a cutting plunge of a toothed galea. Notice the backwards pointing teeth on the galea. With alternating plunges, the fascicle then ratchets deeper and deeper into the dermis. In the living tissue, sensors detect a capillary and the fascicle curves and penetrates. Once in the capillary, 2 pumps, the sibarial pump and the esophageal pump, pair up to produce an impressively powerful suction that also prevents backflow. Despite the high viscosity of blood, these tiny vampires can ingest their body weight in blood in under 2.5 minutes. Our man-biters evolved in different parts of the world. Aedes aegypti is originally from sub-Saharan Africa. On the other hand, Aedes albopictus is originally from Asia. Thus, these mosquitoes are not native to the Americas. In my 30 years of experience with these man-biters, I only know them as invaders or laboratory strains. I need to see them up close in their native range, so I'm headed to Japan to find Aedes albopictus. At 32.5 million people, the Tokyo metropolitan area is the largest in the world, clearing second place Seoul in Korea by a whopping 12 million. Like most great cities, they have parks, including a 110-year-old forested shrine in memory of Emperor Meiji. This and the adjoining Yoyogi Park are well-known hotspots for Aedes albopictus and a wealth of other Japanese mosquitoes. Just listen to this place. It's absolutely stunning. screaming with blood means for mosquitoes.
The map.
That's a biting density study.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
The
great.
circle means area equal to the
Hotspot.
number of.
Yeah, so that's where we are now.
Yes,
that's
yes,
iris-
this, yeah,
iris garden.
iris, yeah.
And
And this
then that
one,
one is
bamboo
big.
one.
Yeah.
Yes, you are right.
In September of 2014, Japanese culicidologist Dr. Yoshio Suda designed and led an intensive study on the biting density of Aedes albopictus in Meiji Jinju, Yoyogi Park, and the adjacent National Institution for Youth Education. Of the 86 sites sampled, 73 were positive for biting Aedes albopictus. Some of these sites had high numbers of biting mosquitoes and were designated hotspots. These spots are shown here as blue circles. In each of these locations, more than 30 mosquitoes were collected during the 8-minute sampling periods. Using a sweep net, a collector spent 8-minute periods capturing mosquitoes as they came in for blood feeding. After netting, mosquitoes were then transferred to collection cups using mouth aspirators. Several sites, like this black landscaping material and this concrete planter, were strong candidates for larvae, but we did not find any. We did, however, find evidence of Aedes albopictus in another artificial container.
Now look, Yoshio, could those be albopictus eggs?
Oh, you are a good eye.
That's just classic. That's where they go. Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Very good, ne? The size and color, I think,
Yeah.
might be albopictus eggs, I think.
Shoot with this camera. Those. Okay, that was great. It's a lot of eggs.
We are lucky, ne?
This is good. We're doing well.
We focused our attention on natural containers like bamboo, which is used in the shrine for ceremonial purposes. Yoshio found a great old tree with lots of holes.
Maybe. I don't think we can. So Yoshio has found in a tree hole 2 species of regular tree hole mosquitoes. Both of these are new to me. So genus Tripteroides, and there's one in there. He's kind of fat, isn't he? The Tripteroides is
here.
that guy. Yeah.
This one.
Yeah. Tripteroides. There it is. Oh, wow. Look at that. Look at that big white larva. It's covered in hair. I mean, it's thick. That one is Tripteroides. I've never seen Tripteroides either in any life stage. Look at that thing. I mean, all these other things look like little frankfurters, and then boom, there's a big, huge bratwurst. It's a hairy one. A big, huge, hairy bratwurst. Tripteroides. What a glorious mosquito larva. Man. And then these two, which look like more, more like a culex.
Yeah.
That is Orthopotamia. That mosquito, look at that. Dark head capsule, very long siphon. That mosquito is Orthopotamia. That's a beautiful mosquito. I've never seen their larvae before.
We went to a site where scraps of bamboo are piled up.
Did you see this larva?
Look at those guys.
Forward.
Oh, wow, it does. Look at that behavior.
Usually mosquitoes go,
Yeah.
so this fish can go up.
Yeah, look at that. So many of them just go forward. That's amazing. They look like fish. They look
Eel
like
fish.
fish. Yeah, yeah. They look like a fish. Never seen that before. It's great. I really like that. That mosquito, this red one right there, is our midgeries. These are the ones that we saw in the park moving forward. Hey, that's a different guy.
Let me check. Looks albopictus, I think.
We might have albopictus here. That one needs to go in a little vial.
While I was focused on filming larvae, Yoshio expertly used his method to net an incoming mosquito.
Albopictus.
Yeah, that's albopictus.
Might be na.
Yeah, it's gotta be. Don't you think? Oh, you said it could be flavopictus because they're very, very close.
yeah. So with naked eye, we cannot identify.
No.
So
That's a very beautiful mosquito too. It was probably hard to get a picture of that too while we're at it. So many things to do. So it's one of two species for sure. This is either Aedes albopictus or Aedes flavopictus. Yeah, one of the two, and it takes a microscopic. Oh, that's great.
okay. You are lucky.
There she is.
You are lucky. Oh.
Oh, that's just spectacular. Oh, my. Wow. Just beautiful. I have to see that guy up close.
You know another. This is lava.
Yeah.
なんだったっけ?
Yeah.
Bright.
It's a beetle
Yeah.
larva.
なんだっけ? Beetle ね.
Sure.
I don't remember the English
Yeah.
name, but it has
Beetle
like
larva.
the special. This is, if you open this one, then become a one sheet of paper. This is so-called crease pattern. And so here become head. This one become foreleg. This.
It's a good day for two mosquito guys. So, fresh off of my fantastic vacation, you know, the one where I got bitten on the big island of Hawaii by both Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus, I'm back home and I am going to see if I can find Aedes albopictus and Aedes aegypti in Hawaii and in other places on the map. So, up to this point, I've done a little bit of searching and I keep coming up with this amazing website called iNaturalist.org. This is what emerges at the top of the list. I mean, I thought I'd be finding science sites, you know, EDU sites, ones from research institutions, but no. So here I am at iNaturalist, and I'll type in Aedes albopictus and Asian tiger mosquito. Whoa! And here's this map. All across the map. Red dots everywhere. And of course, my red dots of interest are way over here in Hawaii. Then there's also this list that scrolls and scrolls and scrolls. But of course, I need to hone the search, so I'm gonna put Hawaii. And now I'm just focusing on the Hawaiian Islands. We can zoom in and actually find our island. There it is. It's the big island of Hawaii. And now, since I put Hawaii in, the list over here shows the people in Hawaii and their specimens.
all of the specimens have photographs. So here's what I've learned. This is an international conglomerate of scientists and motivated naturalists that are boots on the ground in their communities, in their places, finding different species. This is a massive scale biogeographical enterprise. It lives on the internet. And here we are with Hawaii, and you start to see that every specimen has a photograph, and the photographs are of high quality. So as I scroll down, I start to see familiar faces. And look at this, an icon with a bucking bronco and a cowboy. Blue, 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 blue. This is a group that's contributing a huge number of identifications and locations to this database. So the other thing about this is that you find a specimen, and the specimen comes up and it has a green banner that says research grade. Now that means that the photograph has provided enough clarity and enough information for a scientist to confirm the species level identification. So let's look at this. This is the specimen, a fantastic photograph. There you can see that. There's even more than that. Location information, wow. And then you kind of get further in. Let's find out what this Waimea Middle School is. So here they are. Waimea Middle School. We are an after-school science class at Waimea Middle School. Part of our class is to focus on identifying mosquitoes and eradicating them from our homes and community. The teacher, Mr. Binder, also posts his mosquito photos here. So here we have a team, and I need to meet this Mr. Binder and find out, why is he doing this? And why are they so prolific? This group and others like them on the Big Island have contributed a whole new understanding of where these two species of mosquitoes live. And I have to tell you, that's extremely important. These are vectors of disease. We need to know their distributions, and we don't need to know their distributions from some 1925 study. That's dated. There's a lot of change. We need it recent. We need that data now. These guys have been doing this extensive work since 2016, and they're still active in 2019. Way to go, Waimea Middle School. I've got to go meet you. I'm headed to Waimea, an inland town situated in the north of the Big Island. Historically, Waimea was a cow town, but now it's a mosquito town with motivated eye naturalists. I'm going to see Mr. Binder in action as he trains more teachers to start eye naturalist mosquito programs with their students.
We only have 6 mosquito species in Hawaii now, and that makes it easy to identify them. And 3 of those species are Aedes. Now all the Aedes have white stripes on their legs, and so they're very easy to identify. And in my class I bring in mosquitoes and I say, what is this? And right away they know if it's an Aedes from the stripes on the legs. So the rest of it is just getting it down to one of the 3 species. Right. So now is the time to do this. Now is the time to become mosquito experts and bring it home to their families and show how to get rid of mosquitoes. So coming from the side now, getting real close. Now take a look at the...
Nice. You can see the...
And I'm going to make it bigger. Oops. I need to... Now you notice it looks a little dark, and now is this a male or female?
It's a male.
Yeah.
No, yes.
Instantly you can tell that.
It's all
And the kids, once they start noticing these things, they're like getting really into it because, wow, I can tell it's a male. And then
Yeah,
they
because
can,
you see also.
okay, now I'm gonna turn the light and you're gonna see how much better you can see.
Right, and you see all the way.
Okay, so now because the markings that identify, now is this an 80s mosquito?
got the stripes.
Yeah.
Yes, because
So-
of the stripe and markings right there.
The stripes on the legs and these markings that,
Yeah, on the body.
So is this a newer one instead of an older one in the future?
yes, this is much newer. This is my wife, Lynn,
Oh, she caught it in the net.
Oh, you
Netted-
caught this.
netted that one.
Okay.
Okay, so then once you have that photo, then you can take this off and go to this iNaturalist website. Like to access your photos? Yes. Okay, so all photos. And there's our photos. So let's send that one. Send your best ones, but at least one that is unmistakably identifying it to the species. So then you say done. Look at the pictures. No doubt that's a male albopictus. Then say next. And then what did you see? So you have to type in the species. A, E, D, E, S. And you have some choices here.
Your kids are starting from the ground to the end. They collect it and they identify it, and they even do some really cool tech stuff in between. And there are programs all over the country where kids are doing things. A lot of them are heavily funded and part of their school districts. And you guys are doing this just, on a grass diet. This is really amazing. So I commend you. Tell me about, are you starting to fall in love with mosquitoes?
I have told people that I really admire them. And they can kill people really easily. They can bite you without you even hearing them.
So there's respect.
There's definitely respect, and I mean, just if you're somebody who appreciates evolution, you have to appreciate mosquitoes because they're just awesome. They can lay us low.
Lynn, are you in love with mosquitoes?
They're fascinating.
You spend a lot of time tracking them down.
Yeah, and I have zero science background basically.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, I never was somebody who identified things, but after we had this dengue outbreak, I became very interested
Yeah.
in
There's a motivation.
Yes, and just got into the collecting part, and it's a worldwide project, this iNaturalist project.
Yeah, you're connected.
So that's I think it's fascinating, all this crowdsourcing of information.
Oh, I do too. And Tina, what in the world are you doing falling in love with mosquitoes?
Well, my friends and family think I'm kind of crazy because I'm out on a bike ride and I see a tire on the side of the road. I'm like, oh, we gotta stop and check it out. But I think they're fascinating and I'm having a lot of fun.
This is the work to date of our 3 Waimea mosquito iNaturalists. Blue indicates Aedes albopictus and red Aedes aegypti. Notice that Aedes aegypti only appears in brownish areas. These locations are generally less forested and are warmer with less rainfall.
The Big Island of Hawaii is just a giant piece of rock, and it's very, very high. So whenever rain falls, even here on the dry side, rain has to flush down. And of course, this is where it's going to flush through because this has a big highway that goes all the way around the island. That's the highway. Here's the culverts. Water flushes through. It rained a little bit last week, so we actually have water, and that means mosquito larvae. So this pool right here should have mosquito larvae. So I'll see if I can catch a few, and we'll take a good look at them. Right there, right in my hand. Now what am I looking for? Of course, I look at a lot of larvae. I'm looking for body shape, behavior, and especially the breathing siphon at the back. And I can tell you 100% now that these are Culex mosquitoes. So these are not our man biters. Matter of fact, when these guys grow up, the first thing they want to do is go find a bird to suck on. This is another one of those kind of classic examples of not all waters are the same, and not all organisms that live in waters are the same.
For the first 6 centuries of human settlement on Hawaii, mosquitoes were unknown to the islanders. In fact, there was not even a word for mosquito in the language. Then, in the 1820s, it happened. Night-flying mosquitoes in the genus Culex invaded and presented a new and disturbing check on the comforts of Hawaiian life. Mosquitoes would soon be known as makika. It was another 70 years before man-biters arrived. Aedes aegypti was first around 1890, and Aedes albopictus 10 to 15 years later, around the turn of the century. Undoubtedly, all 3 of these species hitchhiked to Hawaii in ships. It was the only way to get there. The new invaders would have had lots of blood sources as the new century brought U.S. annexation, intensive immigration, and development on the islands, especially to support sugar and pineapple agriculture.
Try filming mosquitoes in flight sometime. That's what I want you to do. There's not a lot of us doing it. These males are buzzing around. I'm gonna get them. It's really hard to follow. Super. Now, of course, this is slow motion, so all we need is a tiny bit. There it is. There it is. There. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's the guy. Right there. Oh, man. Oh, coming in. Look at that. I'm gonna roll some of this for real. Oh. Come on, buddy. Come on. Don't get any of that. Okay.
The mosquitoes in this Hawaiian backyard did a better job biting me than I did filming them in flight. I'll get them next time.
So I am in Pahua on the Big Island of Hawaii, and this is that point that is the furthest, the easternmost point of the island. And this is a very wet area. It's very tropical. There's all sorts of wonderful fruit plants. What they do here, and practically what they do all over the island, is they capture their own rainwater, gutters that run down pipes, and they come up in pipes like this and fill tanks like this called catchment tanks. This one is pretty massive. It's 14,000 gallons. I think that they have to be 10,000 gallons. A good, properly maintained one has 2 covers, and despite the tightness of a cover, I mean, if there's a little gap, look at this thing. This is a big fluctuating water level tank, and if a mosquito can get in there, it could be an awesome predator-free mosquito zone. So what I'm gonna do is pull back the cover and take a look and see if there's anything going on in here. So, oh man, this is water for the house. This is what they're gonna use. It's beautiful, crystal clear water. I don't see any mosquitoes though, but man, I see a perfect mosquito habitat. I mean, if you think about this, you're using this water in the house during the day. So the water goes down. A mosquito gets in, she's gravid, full of eggs. She lays the eggs along this inner membrane above the water level. Then it rains later on. Of course, the water from the roof through the pipes, up and in, stimulating the hatch. And then we've got this great super protected habitat for mosquitoes to breed. Researchers with the Hawaii Department of Health are finding out that Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus, especially Aedes aegypti, are breeding extensively in these cisterns.
This one has insufficient cover, while this one appears to be tight. Thousands of these residential catchment systems are in use on the Big Island. I can only wonder just how many of them are mosquito factories, especially when homes are neglected or vacated.
Oh yeah. It's TV.
Cool. Is that a sample?
Yeah, got a sample here.
Go. Okay, good. Good, pull out. Bromeliads are not native to Hawaii, and their phytotelmata, also known as plant-held waters, have become breeding sites for Aedes albopictus.
I don't know if I got much of that.
On the other hand, artificial containers like this black bucket were being used by both species. We found them in jars.
Something big happened.
We found Aedes aegypti in a most unusual container.
It's the first time I've ever seen larvae in a musical instrument. Oh man. Look at that. Wow.
Tarps, used extensively in the Kona coffee industry, can breed huge numbers of Aedes mosquitoes. Of course, mosquito-borne disease is always lurking. Just one viremic tourist is all it takes to start the next epidemic.
So, if we go right around the corner back here, we will be able to see the tools left by the State Department of Health officials to monitor the abundance of mosquitoes in this area. So, right around the corner, we're gonna see a couple of great traps. Let's go take a look. So this, right here, is a vestige of the 2015 dengue epidemic. This is what they call an ovicup. It's black, and if we take it out and look at it, bone dry. This hasn't been filled with water by scientists or public health people for at least 2 years. But when we see the whole thing, it's black. It has a hole here through which a mosquito could fly. It has a hole here through which a mosquito could fly. The lid, of course, is zip tied in. And the way that this trap works is a special paper is put inside. That special paper is this. Now, when this thing is half full of water, the paper is wicking the water, and this sandpaper velvety-like surface is a wonderful place for mosquitoes to come and lay their eggs above the level of the water. And I'm looking at some eggs right here, right now. And I'm actually gonna get a high-powered lens and show you exactly what these things are. Oh yeah, look at that. And you can see the substrate. You can see what, this is what velvet looks like up close. All those tiny little hairs. And this paper actually will wick water. So it's a moist thing. It's a moist surface, but it's above the water level. And that's exactly where these mosquitoes prefer to lay their eggs.
This is my third day trying to get on film the act of oviposition. Oviposition is laying eggs. But they usually do it in dark places. You know, they've got containers. It could be tires, it could be a tree hole. They go down into this kind of dark area and lay their eggs. That's no problem. Here I have Hollywood lights, big time bright. They probably are clashing. So they got one behavior that says it's time to lay an egg, and another behavior is it's time to get out of the bright light. So I consider myself a mosquito whisperer today, because I've conditioned these mosquitoes to be desperate enough to lay their eggs under the bright light. So I think we can do it. Here we go. They're on the paper. Look at her. Okay, come on. Come on. She's doing it. Look at that. Look at the tip of her abdomen. Wow. Look at, she just laid an egg. She's doing another. There it goes. Wow. Look at. Oh man, look at that. She just laid another one. Look at that abdomen. I mean, the tip of her abdomen. It's like a finger. It stretches, it curves, it touches. I wouldn't be surprised to learn that the tip of her abdomen is as laden with sensory structures as the tip of her proboscis or her antennae. I mean, she has to have a lot of sensory information coming from that end because what she's doing is so precise. Look at, let's find her again. Right there it is. Closer, closer. Wow. Okay. When she lays the eggs, I've never seen this before. I don't know if anybody has. There's these two tiny little structures called cerci. They look like little ping pong paddles right out of the end of her abdomen. And we are so close that you can see those ping pong paddles kind of splay out as the egg goes through. It's like, whoop. I mean, look at this. Let's see if she can do another. There she is. There she is. Okay. You know, this is the ultimate act of parenthood. These decisions that these mosquitoes make, where they put their eggs, is life or death for them. So if this mosquito puts eggs in good containers, good locations, she's going to be highly successful as a parent. But if she puts them in bad containers, poor locations, she's going to be an unsuccessful. This is mosquito behavior at its finest. We've just filmed something that's never been filmed like this before. In today's world, Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus are mosquitoes of man. They produce eggs that can withstand drying. They also lay these eggs in human-generated containers. These first two features are the basis of mankind's unintentional shipping of these mosquitoes around the world. Like mythical vampires, they too enter human houses for blood feeding and shelter. Lastly, they have developed a particular taste for human blood. Go. So here's 1,000 mosquitoes at least. Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus, and one in my throat. And as much as I'd like to do this, here we go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find out who's the fastest. They're biting now. Boom, 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 boom. All over the place, all over my head. My ears, they love my ears. They love my forehead. See, the whole purpose of this madness is to demonstrate that these are aggressive, ridiculous, anthropophilic mosquitoes. Anthropophilic? What's that? That means that they love anthropods. That's us. They're human biters. They're man biters. Look at them go. They like my hand. This is fantastic. Wow.
MosquitoMan has got a plan, he's got a lot to do. With a camera in his hand, here's what he'll show you. Tiny little creatures that like to suck your blood. We know that you hate them, but for him it's love. Mosquito Man, Mosquito Man, Mosquito Man, Mosquito Man. He travels all around the globe just to bring to you a universe beyond your eyes. I bet you'll feel it too. Who thought that something this small would ever get to us? I'd be very careful